Hey guys, it's Mike from Menu Development, and we're going to pick up where we left off. Last time we had just created our main menu with uh, our main menu window with our menu items in it, the 3 buttons. Got all that hooked up, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look at getting our images into our application, as well as making a utilities class to be able to fetch those images easily. And then we'll also create our WarCard class, which is going to be used to it's going to be used in making the cards that we'll have that will be in the play area. So first things first, we need, if you guys haven't already went to the website, make sure you go to the website and download this file here, the war tutorial images.zip. Once you got that, let's go ahead and we'll just extract those. I'll put these on my desktop for now. So now that after you extracted those, we'll just come over here and right click on the project, add a folder, new folder. We're going to put all the images inside of our images folder. So then we'll need to right click on the images folder, add new folder. The first one we're going to call cards, and then right click on the images folder again, add one more folder, and we're going to call that table items. Okay, so now that we have our images folder and these 2 child folders here, cards and table items, we're going to right click on the cards folder, add existing item. We'll navigate to wherever you've downloaded the zip file and unpacked it to. So if we go to my case here, it's desktop, war tutorial images, go inside the cards. We want to select all these cards. Now if you don't see anything in here, probably what it is you've got this right here selected, so go down to the bottom right and drop that down and select all files, and then you'll see all of them, and then you can select them. So we'll just select all those and click add. It's going to put all of our cards in there for us. Now we need to put the table items in, which I think is just one item. So right click on table items, go to add existing item, navigate up to the table items folder and select this right here, click add. Alright, now that we got those in there, we need to go ahead and make a class, a simple way that we can grab these images by passing in a certain path. So we don't want to have to, every time we want an image, we don't want to have to do this, we don't have to get the image over and over and over again, where we have to initialize the bitmap image and set the URI source and all that. We want to be able to encapsulate that and do that efficiently. So what we'll do is, if you right click on your project and go to add new item, or actually you can go down to class, we'll call this utilities and click add. So what we're going to do inside here is this is going to be a static class. So let's go make this public static, and then we just need one method in here. So what we'll do is do public static bitmap image, and we won't have this namespace yet, so it'll red underline. We'll call this GetImage, and we're going to pass in a path to be able to get that. Now you see here we have some errors, and the reason for it is up here in the using, we don't have this namespace declared. So if you right click, look at resolve, there's 2 ways we could do this. If we were to select this one, it's not going to add the using statement up here, and every time we need to get a bitmap image, we'd have to declare a namespace again. So you see here it's not going to pick it up. We'd have to right click, resolve, do that again. But we're not going to have any conflicts. We're not going to have, what we're going to do is we're going to right click here, resolve, and add the using statement that we need. And you see it's going to pick it up every time because it's going to be up here now. So inside this getImage method, we need to go ahead and create a bitmap image object. Then we need to begin the initialization of the image. And what we'll do here is go ahead and end the initialization. Now in between these, what we're going to do is we're going to set the URI source. So image.URI source equals new URI. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take the path that we were passed in up here, and we're going to use that, and then we need to set the URI kind to relative or absolute. You can see here if we step down, this is what we're using this overload here. Okay. So now that we have that set up, we need to go ahead and we've set up our bitmap image, we've initialized it and ended the initialization. So now we need to return it. And that's all we'll need to do there. So you see we're gonna, let me zoom in for you guys in case you couldn't see that. I'll re-go over this real quick so I forgot to zoom in. What we're gonna do is we added public static to the class. Then we added this public static method here. So public static, we're gonna return a bitmap image. So it's called GetImage, and the parameter that we're going to pass in is a string, and we call that path. Now remember the bitmap image you're going to have to, so let me go ahead and just remove this using statement to kind of show you why I'm zoomed in here. We're going to right click on that, go to resolve, and you're going to select the one here that says using, so it adds that using statement up to the top. And then we're going to create our new bitmap image object, begin the initialization, set the URI source based off of the path that we passed in, and then we're going to end the initialization and return our image. So whatever calls this method is going to get this bitmap image returned to it, so we can use that. Okay, so that's all we need to do for that one. So let's go ahead and close out of that. And what we're going to do now is we'll look at the WarCard class. There's going to be a lot to set up in this one, so I'll try to keep it all in one video. We may have to split this one up into two, but we'll see how the time goes. So if we go ahead and right click on our project, go to add, go down to class. We're going to call this one WarCard. Just click add. So what we're going to do here is we got a few things that we need to do. First thing we need to do is let's go ahead and set up some enumerations that we're going to be using. We'll be using two of these in our constructor, so we need to go ahead and set these up real quick. So set up a region here. So public enum suits. This is going to be the suits of cards. So none is going to be equal to -1. A spade is going to be equal to 0. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. I forgot to zoom in again. So spade is going to be equal to 0. Club is going to be equal to 1. A heart is going to be equal to 2. And a diamond is going to be equal to 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and set another enum up that we'll be using. And we'll call this one cards. And this is going to go blank equals 0. Down equals 1. W2 equals 2. W3 equals 3. I'm just showing you guys how you can set these enums up and give them a value like that. 4 equals 4 and so on until we get up to 10 here. W6 equals 7. W7 equals, W6 equals 6. W7 equals 7. W8 equals 8. W9 equals 9. W10 equals 10. And then what we're going to do next is a jack. So a WarCard jack equals 11. WarCard queen equals 12. WarCard king equals 13. And a WarCard ace equals 14. Okay. So this kind of gives you a glimpse as to, this will make it easier to understand when we get into some of this a little bit later on. So public enums owners, we just need to set this to none, computer, and player. Okay. So now we have our enumeration set up. Let's go ahead and let's set up our constructor. Okay. So it's going to be public WarCard, and we're going to take two parameters here. So we're going to pass in suits, suit, cards, card. Now, in this, we're going to have a few things to go along with it. Okay. we're going to need an ID. We're going to need, to hold on to what suit it is. We're going to need to know what card it is. And we're going to need to actually have the card image. Okay. So in looking at how we can set those up, let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is we need to set up an ID. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to come up here under our enums, and we're going to set up some properties. Okay. So we need an ID property. So what we're going to do is we're going to do public. We're going to use a GUID for the ID. ID. It's going to be a get and a private set. That means stuff from outside here can get this ID, but it cannot set it. We're going to set it from inside this class here, and we're going to do that right here. So we'll do ID equals new GUID. Oh, sorry, GUID dot new GUID. So this is going to give us a new GUID. Well, there we go. GUID dot new GUID. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have a card suit, similar to what we just did there. So public, and this is going to go off of the suits enumeration. Card suit, get private set, and we'll go ahead and add that down here. So we'll set up, I need the space there, card suit equals the suit that we were passed in. Now we're going to need to know what card it is, so we'll do a public cards card get private set. Set up the card here. And now what we're going to do is look at the card image. Okay, so what we're going to need to do there is we're going to need to do a couple different things. First two things we need to do is we need to set up some constants so we can get easily get the path that we're going to be needing for the table items and the cards. So if we look up here, what we'll do is under our enums, set up a new region, call it constants. Okay. So in here we're going to make a couple private strings that'll be constant. So table items path. Now we're going to do something a little different here. So we're going to put the @ sign, and then we're going to do quotations. Now what we're going to do is we're going to point this into this table items folder right here. Okay, so we got to go into the application, look in the images folder, and then look in the table items folder. So I'm not really going to go too in depth into exactly what the first part of this means. If you don't understand it and you want to know more about it, then we can get together in the forums or something like that. But we're going to put in pack : / application : / now the folder we're going to look in is going to be images, so we're going to put images / and then we're going to look in table items / Okay, now we're going to do this. Go ahead and copy this part right here over to the images. Go ahead and copy that because we're going to have to make another one so we can get into the cards folder here. So private constant string card path equals, and then we'll go ahead and paste what we had there, and then we're going to put cards like so. So now we can just reference these two whenever we need to either get something from this cards folder or when you get something from the table items folder. Okay, so now if we go down, you see here we're going to have some way to get this card image, right? So the way we're going to do that is we're going to set up a method that's going to use their utilities method that we just set up, this one here, it's going to use this to be able to easily get that image for us. Okay, so if we go to card image here, we'll go down and we're going to make another region for methods. So we need a private method. It's going to return a bitmap image. And like before, we don't have that in there yet. So right click, resolve, and the top one there for the using. And it'll add that using statement like we saw before. We want to put in get card image path. And we're going to take in a suit and the type of card it is. So now we're going to know what suit the card belongs to and what card the card actually is. Okay. So now, how are we going to handle, if we need to handle two different ways to get cards, right? Either it can be a playable card, or it could be the, pull over the game here and let me show you what I'm talking about. So if we do new game here, so if we need to get this type of WarCard, that's one type of card, right? And that'll be a specific, we set up the enumerations to handle this type of card. Another type of card is going to be this card here, which you also saw in the rotating part of the shuffling, this kind of card. And then there's a third type of card, which needs to be dynamic. You need to know what number the card is, what suit it is, and be able to display that. So we have a total of 3 different types of cards that we need to get. So let's go ahead and show you how we can set that up. Exit that. Okay, so if the suit that we're passing in here equals, which is equal to suits.none, then we need to do a few things here. So if we're passing in this here, so if it's not a spade, it's not a club, it's not a heart, and it's not a diamond, we need to look at 2 different things. We need to take into account what's passed in here. So, if this is none, we're not expecting it to be any of these, because those would at that point not be valid. We would expect it to be one of these blank or down. So if it has no suit, it should be one of these 2 right here. So let's see if we can determine that. So if card, which is what we passed in here, is equal to cards.blank, then we want to return utilities dot get image. We're going to look in the table items path, because if it's a blank card, then we want to have that the black outline with the war text on it. When we get image, we want to call the table items path plus WarCard area.png. So if the card is blank, so if we have no suit and the card is equal to blank here, we want to pull this right here, this kind of card, which this will do. But now we have to also check if the card equals cards.down, we should see the back of the cards, right? So if we look in our images here, we would want to see this one right here if the card is facing down. Okay, so we would return utilities dot get image card path plus we want the WarCard back.png. Okay, if it's neither one of those, then it's not, something's went wrong and there's not going to be a proper image to show, so we're just going to return null. So if it doesn't meet either of these 2 conditions right here, we're just going to return null, because we'll just return no bitmap image to it. So we should never get to this point and not be one of these 2 anyway. So, but if it's not a suits.none, so if it's not this, then we're going to have a spade, a club, a heart, or a diamond. At that point, we need to take into account which card it is. You know, is it a ace of hearts or a king of spades, something like that. So what we'll do here is we'll do else, else, because it can either be suits.none or then it's got to be a suit, right? We want to return utilities.getImage card path plus. Now here's where we're going to have to kind of we're going to have to build it out. Because see, all these have a different setting. So WarCard 9 club.png. It depends on what WarCard it is, and then of course what suit it is. So we do card path WarCard. So now we're inside this path right here. So we're inside images cards. Now we're looking for image WarCard. We have to add on to, we'll cast this into an integer, the card that's being passed in. So this card here, we cast it to an integer, it's going to become one of these. So it could potentially be 0 through 14, but we know at this point that it should be, you know, it should not be one of these two because we've already checked for that, right? So it'll either be a 2 through 14, which is exactly what we have here, you know, a deuce all the way up to an ace. So now we have WarCard and whatever the number it is, plus suit.toString. So what this is going to do is it's going to give us, you know, the name of this. So spade toString would be spade, capitalized. So you see here this is capitalized. So if it was 11, a WarCard 11 spade, which this would be a jack. You can see we want to have that in there. So it would be a jack, which would be 11. Spade, which toString would report spade, right? And we want a .png at the end of it. Okay, so add in .png, and now we can get the image for the card based off of what's passed in here. As soon as we add this to the constructor, card image, which we need to set up that. Hold on one second. We need to set up a property here for the card image. And we're going to follow the same procedure we did here. So public bitmap image, card image, get private set. Okay. And down here we're going to set this property, card image, equal to get card image path based on the suit and the card that we've been passed right here. Okay. So now we have that set up. There's a few other things that we're going to have to look at for later on. These may not make a lot of sense right now, but we need to see, you know, one is the card playable. I think that's one of the main things that we have left. And of course the owner, we have to get the owner of the card. So let's go ahead and set those up real quick. And we'll see how we use these a little bit later on, okay? So underneath our constants here, let's go ahead and make another region. Call it declarations. And this is going to be a private. And it's going to be a Boolean. And it's going to be called playable, m_playable. This means this is going to be a, as we reuse this to the class, we can tell this is a class member variable. Okay. So we have mPlayable here. But now what we want to do is we want to be able to have a property to where, you know, this can be set. So I'm going to show you how you can use this inside of a property. So if we come down here, public bool playable. Okay. Now we're going to have a getter and we're going to have a setter in here. So we don't want people to be able to just set this. We don't want to make this public or just a property like that. We'll keep this playable. Now we're going to have restrictions on how this can work. So public bool playable. This is going to be one way you can do this. So you got a private member here, right? A private variable. and we won't allow other people to set this, but we want to set some constraints up around that. So let me just show you what I'm talking about here. So we've got public bool playable, so it's going to return a boolean. So get, and we'll have a set as well. So first let's look at the get here. So let's comment here so this makes sense. If there is no owner, suit, or face value for the card, it is never playable. Okay, so if it doesn't have an owner, a suit, or a face value, then this card cannot be played. It's not a playable card. So let's go ahead and check that. If owner, well, we need to set up the owner property, don't we? We don't have that in there yet. Okay, so down here below this, we'll do public owners owner get set. So outside of this class, other people can get and set the owner for this. So now we need to do the check. So if owner is equal to owners.none, or card suit is equal to suits.none, or card is equal to cards.blank, then this card is not playable, so we'll return false. Okay. Else, we're going to return m_playable. All right. So to go down here to set, all we got to do is m_playable equals value. So whatever's passed into this property, we're just going to set that to the m_playable value here. But when we get this, we're going to make sure that if any of these conditions are equal, so if owner is equal to none, card suit is equal to none, card is equal to cards.blank, no matter if this is set for some reason the play will be true, this allows the play, this makes the card unplayable for any reason. So if one of these three are true, then we're going to return false no matter what's stored inside this variable here. And that'll make more sense a little bit later down the road. So let's go ahead and we'll comment here too. Else return if this card is currently able to be played. So, you know, when we play the card, it's temporarily unplayable till we reshuffle. So that's kind of what we're handling here. But we're wanting to make sure that we control that if any of these right here are true, you know, that card's not playable either. So it'll make more sense when we get down the line a little bit. But this right here is this is going to be our class, our WarCard class. I think that pretty much covers what we were going to cover in this part here. The next part, what we're going to cover is doing the shuffling the cards. So we're going to walk through the process of creating the window that will display that animated image and the message that shows whose cards are being shuffled. And then we'll look at how we perform the logic behind that to actually shuffle the cards. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next time. Thanks.